We live in a country plagued with a lot of problems. There's no denying that there's enough problems to go around in all categories, in all aspects of life. But the real problem in this country is voting and people not doing it. And if you want to change the way things are, you have to participate. That is step one. Dyze in your house. Exclusively on East Coast Radio. The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are that of my own and are not of my employer.
Nobody likes me. Nobody likes me, but that's okay, cause I don't like y'all anyway. And I don't like y'all anyway.
We have until November of 2020 to get our act together as a country, as a nation, to correct this injustice. And the biggest injustice in the world was allowing a foreign power to install a criminal into the White House and turn an administration into a fascist crime syndicate. That must be corrected. And we only have there's only one more election we have to correct it, or this whole thing is over.
If you don't know what Staten Island is, it's like New York's abortion that lived.
I never met any of the founding fathers, but I'm sure if they were listening to East Coast Radio right now and brand new episodes of Dyze in Your House, they would agree with the sentiment. And you can follow us on Twitter at East Coast Radio. Get us on Patreon at East Coast Radio. Vote. Blue Wave 2020. Let's make it happen. East Coast Radio for the least heard voices. Every weekend. We here on East Coast Radio are trying to fight the rising tide of fascism.
The noun fascism is usually defined as a governmental system led by a dictator having complete power, forcibly suppressing opposition and criticism, regimenting all industries, commerce, etc., and emphasizing an aggressive nationalism and often racism.
Yeah, we don't want any of that in America. So we gotta stop it. We gotta put out the fire now.
Staten Island was no joke.
As liberals, not even as liberals, as Americans, as patriots, as people that like democracy. The only thing we can do right now to fix our country is use our weapons. And our weapons are our voices, our handmade signs, and social media. Get the message out there. Voting. Voting is key. Elections have consequences.
If you don't know what Staten Island is, it's like New York's abortion that lived.
Representing Staten Island. Staten Island was no joke.
Hey, yo. Who's in the house? Dyze in your house. What is the word, peeps? What goes on? It is the weekend. I am Jay Porks. We are back here on East Coast Radio with another action-packed edition of Dyze in your house. This is what we do. Every week, we're here to stress the importance of voting. Because voting matters. And voting is how democracy works. And we have free and fair elections for a reason. And there's no reason why you can't take 10 minutes out of your day, or whatever the case may be, especially any of my friends listening, people in my area who live in like a city, like we live in New York City, like your polling place is not 15 miles from you. And if they are, I would like you to contact me so I can blast that out on my podcast and let people know about that injustice. But anyhow, lots of injustices, lots of corruption that goes on in America. And people like to say, politicians are crooked. Well, that's cool. I mean, it's not cool. So you know what you do about it? You go out and you vote. And in 2018, midterm elections saw voter turnout like no other, and there was not a general election going on. There is no reason why we can't, into 2020, take that voter turnout, increase it, and help remove the stain from the White House. See, but here's the thing. Here's the thing I can't stress enough. Okay? And let me just say that I'm recording this Sunday morning. The New York City Marathon is going on. And I was coming back from the city, working an overnight, and let me just say, the views and opinions expressed on my podcast are that of my own and not that of my employer. Even though this has nothing to do with my employer, I'm just saying. Anyway, I worked overnights for a week, right? Cool, it was dope, it was fun, don't mind it, it's all good. The thing is that this marathon, so I live on Staten Island, this is where the marathon starts. They decide to start it here. So they closed down the Verrazano Bridge, and I'm stuck on the ferry at 6 o'clock in the morning with a bunch of people that are about to run the marathon. There's no seats. And then I get off the ferry, and I go to get on the bus. The bus isn't till a mile down that way, because the buses ain't at the ferry, because people are using the ferry for shuttle buses to get people to the bridge so they can start the marathon, and that whole thing is really frustrating. So if this 20 minutes to a half hour or so might come off as hey, what's Jay really mad about? Well, traveling bothers me sometimes, especially when they close the Verrazano Bridge and leave me trapped and not able to get home. It was bullcrap. I didn't get home that late, and it wasn't that big of a deal in the end. But in the moment, it sucked. Anyway, like I said, so I might be a little more mad than I usually am. But you know what? We live in a country where you have a right to be mad. That is your right. And you have a right to question government. And you have a right to ask yourself, hey, when did a fascist crime syndicate begin to exist at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue? When did a hostile foreign power install that fascist crime syndicate? You might ask yourself, what is fascism? I might ask Google, hey Google, what is fascism?
According to Wikipedia, fascism is a form of far-right, authoritarian ultranationalism characterized by dictatorial power, forcible suppression of opposition, and strong regimentation of society and of the economy, which came to prominence in early 20th century Europe.
Yeah, so that's not, I didn't say, hey, give me a list of American values. That's not what I said. Fascism. And if you need to know what fascism is like Hitler, okay? And, do I need to stress it more? Not good. Not good. For anybody. For anybody. This whole dictator, authoritarian, one person seizes all the power. That's not how America works. America is not built to work like that, and we have documents that were written, the Constitution, stuff like that was written, and there are laws to prevent these types of things from happening, from to protect public office from corrupt individuals. And somehow, in 2016, a bunch of people saw the most corrupt person in the world who is not a politician. They saw that person and they decided, you know what? This looks like a good vehicle to funnel my racism through. And there is nothing. And I will repeat, and again, I reset. I mean, I tell a lot of people about my podcast, so every now and then more people might tune in, and they might want to know, what is really what's his real beef? There is nothing that this clown is doing that is bettering the majority of the country. Not even 3/4 majority of the country. Nothing. Not one policy. Now, here's the thing. I'm not saying that it would be okay if, like, my life was going, like, totally awesome all because of this fascist regime. Like, if everybody, let's just say everybody in America was happy, but yet there was still a fascist crime syndicate committing crimes while serving public office. Like, that wouldn't be cool. That wouldn't be cool at all. But I don't know if I'd have the balls to be calling it out every week when I could just be telling funny stories. But what I'm saying is that this is dangerous. This is a dangerous thing. What's more dangerous than a corrupt criminal? What's more dangerous than a criminal running for public office and seeking absolute power? The only thing more dangerous than that might be somebody that didn't even want to fucking win. That's the whole jux of the thing. The guy had no interest in winning the election. That was an accident. Because Fox News, Breitbart, and Facebook took America for a ride, man. And you know what? We can't let it happen again. And that might mean that I might have to take a drastic step. Don't worry, it's not that crazy. I might have to delete Facebook. I don't think my mental state could handle Facebook anymore. And is that crazy? Like, I don't want to do it because, like, listen, in terms of social networking, I know, like, you know, people, oh, social networking is bad, it's the worst in the world. Listen, I get it. Like, but as far as social networking, it's Twitter and Instagram. Like, Facebook, I don't consider, I mean, I don't look at social network, Facebook. I know that's the movie. But Facebook is really morphed into, it's like a yearbook for everybody. It's like, oh, okay, I know this person's name, or I know what this person, you know, in the way this person went to school. I could find them. I know what this person, you know, stuff like that. I can connect with old friends. And that's a feature that I don't want to lose. And even though I may have more Twitter followers, and if you don't follow me on Twitter, that's at JayPorks, JayPorks. Go follow. And on Instagram, it's Dyze in your house. So follow me on the social medias. Don't find me on Facebook. I'm just frustrated enough. But I have more Twitter followers than, I think, friends on Facebook. But at the same time, Facebook, I have more people who I have a connection with, like, solely because of Facebook. Like, this is the only reason I talk to some of these people. The only reason you know, some of the people I met at concerts, friends, people I know, the Concert Confessions peeps from all around the country. Like, we don't, you know, there's no DM sliding going on my Twitter. I mean, feel free to. If you got ideas for the show, if you got tips and tricks you want to, you know, let me know about, holla at your boy. Slide my DMs. But the fact of the matter is that I don't think I'm, let's say, mentally strong enough. And I'm not afraid to admit that. You know, sometimes there are some things in life that you have to say, you know what? Maybe this isn't something I can handle. And you may have heard me talk about this stupid Staten Island politics group that I'm in on Facebook. And this thing is just a cesspool of ignorance. And I was on my way to the city last night, or 2 nights ago. I don't know what day it is anymore. I was on my way to the city and I saw by the Staten Island Mall, there was a big, like, there was like 10 women, 10 old ladies with, like, you know, looked like they just went to Costco to get boxed wine, you know, stock up on boxed wine and shit. You know, and with their bad tans, smoking their cigarettes, you know, with their terrible manicures. you know, trying to bang their son's friends, stuff like that, you know, women like that. And so like 10 of them, and they got this big Women for Trump sign. And like, we're by the Staten Island Mall, it's like a mile from my house or so. And I'm saying to I gotta get, and I'm thinking about the Staten Island Politics group. And I understand, like, I'm sitting here and I say, listen, I can't take my platform and not use it. But at the same time, Staten Island might not be able to be saved at this point. I hate to, like, admit defeat in my own home borough. But, like, when I'm in Manhattan or when I'm in Brooklyn, when I'm in Queens, you know, wherever I'm at, the Bronx, it's not this crazy, like, you know what I'm saying? So, this week at work, I was talking to somebody I work with, and, like, they were like, yo, listen, I'm not gonna mention any names, obviously, and they were like, yo, listen, it seems like Trump's gonna win, like, again. And that was very discouraging to me, because I don't want that to happen. And I don't know about, and there are no foregone conclusions to anything. But, besides, I mean, I already mentioned the voter turnout. 2018 midterm voter turnout. We have youth activists signing up people to vote. We have people like me, people like a lot of people who weren't vocally involved in politics before, who didn't talk about that stuff. There's more people who are openly talking about this stuff now, and hopefully spending this next 12 months, because we are exactly 1 year out, as I just looked at the date. Holy shit! We are 1 year away from this. We could end this. And I could understand if you were looking at candidates and you saw a candidate that you said, wow, that person makes my life worse than the way Trump has my life now. If you want to be like, because everyone's a selfish person, no one thinks of other people, they only think of themselves, so that's why I'm focusing this conversation on a personal level to people. There is nobody on the Democratic side. I mean, if you go to top five. If you go to the top 5 Democratic nominees, people who are up for the nomination, they are all way better for your life than what Trump is doing right now. I mean, here's the big thing. People are under the impression that this economy has anything to do with Donald fucking Trump, okay? The only thing he has to do with is when it fucking crashes. Because it crashed, okay? It was donezo in 2008. I remember it. I was in college. I remember seeing, you know, the scroll. I remember seeing the news. And again, not vocally active in politics. But when that happened, this country, thanks to a great President Barack Obama, turned it around. Now listen, is the Affordable Care Act perfect? It is not. Would it be better if there weren't Republicans fucking with it? Yes. Would it have been better if Republicans, instead of saying, we're going to do everything in our power to stop what the black guy wants to do, if they would have taken that energy and maybe sat down with the bill and with lawmakers, Democratic on the other side, if they would have sat down and maybe like hashed things out, maybe they could have got some things in there that they wanted. Instead, all they do is cry like little bitches. And I'm sorry, if you're a regular Republican, if you're somebody who's not sworn allegiance to the Trumpkins, and you're a regular Republican, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that this happened to your party. If you're a Republican who votes Democrat, if you're a Republican that voted for Hillary Clinton, because, let's be real, she's more fucking Republican than Donald Trump is, If you're somebody like that, and you're somebody that's gonna vote Democrat this time, even though you may be registered Republican, then from me personally, I'm sorry. I don't mean to lump you in with that group. If you're a Republican that votes independent, you're just an asshole. If you're anybody, keep it a buck. If you're anybody that votes independent, you can come see me. You're an asshole. And I'll say it. I don't care. You're not independent. You're not somebody who is a blank piece of fucking paper. That's not what you are. You have things in your life that you want. You have things that that you want for your family, that you want for your children, that you want for your future, that you want for your planet. So don't you dare tell me for a second that I'm independent. I really, whichever way the wind's blowing today is the way I'm gonna go. Get the fuck out of here. That's cap. That's what the kids say. The kids say cap. Cap means lie. So, like, if I say that's cap, that means you're lying. Or I'll be like, the caps lock is on. Again, I enjoy working with people younger than me, because not only do I get to pick up on the lingo, but, like, it's true what they say. Like, you steal some of their youth from them. You know what I'm saying? You bring them closer to being old. It's the truth. Anyhow, something fell in my room and I'm like looking around it. Anyhow, if you're not a blank piece of paper, you want things, and it's not only personal things. Maybe you don't want fucking kids locked in cages. Maybe you don't want women in some states to have to go, 80 miles to get, a procedure done because they don't have insurance, and Republicans have shut down all the Planned Parenthood places in town because they defunded it, because that's what they do. What about your paycheck? Let's talk about your paycheck for a second. Now, in your paycheck, let me just keep it real. Do you get your check every week and say, wow, man, Trump? Like, it's not a thing. Also, you also see on your paycheck, if you work on the books, you see that they are taking out money for Social Security. Now, this is money that you will get when you're like 65. In addition to whatever job you have now, even if you work for the city, even if you have a pension, all that stuff, 401k, it has nothing to do with that. You get this money no matter what. You can either get it when I think you're 62 or 66. Like, I think you can take it at 62, but you get more per month if you wait till you're 66. I'm not quite sure if I have the ages right. Anyway, you get this money per month to help you out that you paid for. And you can live to 150, and they got to give you that money. But here's the thing. The way the country's going, Republicans, they want to take away your Social Security. And I don't mean take it away from your grandfather today. But I mean, when I reach 65, when you reach 65, and we're like, yo, need that paper. Where's that guap at? When you see that, when you go to do that, and then it's not there, or it's like $50 a month or something, instead of, the $800,000, whatever they give you a month, give you that fucking Andrew Yang money. Like, do you want to wait 40, 50 years to realize, wow, I was stupid for sharing a Trump meme instead of taking this shit seriously? I mean, that's the real truth here. If you're just gonna... listen. You can't... I'm not saying... I don't want to tell people like that one election is more important than the other, but it is. It is. If you're somebody that says, I'm not really into politics, now is not that time. You live in this country? If you live in this country, you gotta be into politics. You can't... I'm not saying you need to watch cable news 14 hours a day. I'm just saying that you need to say to yourself right now, okay, I'm going to be a person that votes. I'm going to be a person that goes out and votes for the Democrat because Democrats care about me and they care about other people besides old rich white men. That's all it is. The Republican Party is a cycle of the same thing. It's politicians setting up white men between the ages of 40 and 60 to succeed, while the rest of the country can go fuck themselves. And that's all it is, and that's all it's ever been with the Republican Party. And they don't change. They don't learn from their mistakes. So the only way that they will ever change is if you take the power away from them. And we have the opportunity in 365 days to take that power away from them. And you know what? Once this fucking orange wannabe despot cunt monkey and his fascist crime family is removed from 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, once that happens, then, and only then, will we start to see our country actually flourish. And when that happens, at that point, I'm not going to be totally mad if you say, Jay, I'm sitting this next one out, or something of the effect. It's just crazy. It's just crazy that you could, and not you, like the person listening right now. Again, like I try to spread the word as much as I can. So I hope more people are listening, and I hope like it's enjoyable. And I promise you, once we fix this, and listen, we're not gonna fix the country's problems in one election, but once we go out and we vote these Republicans out, and they will learn their lesson. They will have to sit there and account for why they stood by a fascist, why they stood by a traitor. They will have to account for that. And when they are no longer in power, what we could do is get back to a little bit of normalcy. And I promise you that I'll be here for that. I got tales. Like, for instance, one of these days, and I was thinking about doing it, but I'm not going to do it. But, like, alright, so you made it this far into the podcast, right? So there's a little treat for you I'll give you. Since you made it this far and you listen to me, that Kanye West record, Jesus is King, and this is not an uninformed opinion. I've listened to this record 15 times full through. No joke. Not lying. No funny. This album's trash. And not... You know what's worse than forcing religion on somebody? Pretending to force religion on somebody. Faking the funk. Just to get in on some of that family money. And everyone's what... You've seen The Family. You watch the documentary on Netflix. Check it out if you haven't. I believe it's on Netflix. The Family. Like, if you're... Like, again, freedom of religion, that's a thing that us Democrats support, not Republicans who want to force people to say that only the holiday, celebrate only their holidays and not other people's holidays. The thing is that if you, like, freedom of religion is a thing that Democrats, is that thing that I support. Like, you worshiping your God in your way, and I can't tell you how to do that. So, in return, all I ask is that you don't force this shit on me. You know what I mean? Like, please. That's all I ask. And especially to be married to somebody who, you know, has published sex tapes, and someone who, you know, is sexuality, you know, is the core essence of their brand. when you be fake Christian or whatever you are, it's offensive to me as somebody that doesn't want religion forced on me. But imagine these people that are actually religious. People that actually go to church. I'm not talking about people that go to church and put on a concert. That's not church. I'm talking about real worshipers. That's disrespectful to them. And it's just crazy. And the album's weak. The bars are weak. Kanye West is a good producer, and his first record was good. And I'm not saying that Kanye West sucks or anything like that as an artist. I just think he's a crazy person. I don't need to hear his opinion. And really, quite frankly, until he, until he makes something that I care about again, I don't need to hear his opinion. Because I don't care about anything he has to say. Because I haven't cared about his music in like over 10 years. 15 years probably. Alright, so, like, again, I run a website, constantconfessions.com. This podcast used to be about music, and I used to, rag on, like, online music publications and such for the way they would publish headlines and clickbait and stuff like that. And I used to, concerts, tell tales about things like that, or review albums or such, talk about tour dates. So I used to do that type of stuff. And it'll go back, it's going to go back to normal. Because I trust in you to fix this for me. I know I'm going to vote. I know that you'll do me the solid. Do me this favor. Will you get somebody that didn't vote in 2016 to vote Democrat for me? Vote blue no matter who. Vote blue to save America. Vote blue to end this nightmare. Vote blue. 2020. Blue Wave 2020. Down the line. We are taking the power back because democracy is power for the people and not power for the rich and corrupt. Dyze in your house. Exclusively on Least Coast Radio.